We are learning more about the operation to capture Nicolás Maduro and his wife. Consider this. It reportedly involved months-long spy missions, drones, and even blowtorches. Senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata is following this story from West Palm Beach, Florida, and joins us now. Charlie, good to see you this Monday. Walk us through what we know about Operation Absolute Resolve and how it was able to be achieved successfully.
Yeah, Errol, you know, when we put all this together, when the U.S. military plans this, they're relying on intelligence on the ground. And we have learned from General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, kind of laid out exactly how that happened. There were CIA informants that were working inside the Venezuelan regime, inside the Maduro regime, and clocking all of his movements right down to his pets, as a matter of fact, according to the general. So what we saw was a multi-layered attack, is what the military would call it. 150 different aircraft from 20 different bases. And these are fighter jets, you know, that we're told F-31s, F-35s, F-22s, F-35, F-18s, B-1 bombers, even drones were brought in. And this was to provide air cover, air support. So when they went in with the Delta Force, these are commandos, Army Delta Force commandos, they were coming in low level, about 100 feet off the sea, using helicopters to get to that Maduro compound. As a matter of fact, they built a replica of the compound and had rehearsals of exactly what was going to go on. So as the fighter jets and others, the bombers, provided this air cover, in came the helicopters with the Delta commandos on board. And they were able to get to Maduro and to get to him before he was able to get to a safe room. But as you said, they had blowtorches. If they needed to get into those steel doors, they would have done it. They had to fight their way in, and they had to fight their way out. So from the moment they breached that compound to the moment that they got, Maduro and his wife out of Venezuela and into the sea and onto the Iwo Jima, which is a Navy/Marines amphibious craft, that was about 2.5 hours.
And Charlie, this is an incredibly dangerous mission. And to that point, Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Face the Nation told Margaret Brennan, when he was asked, well, why didn't the U.S. go over the other 5 indicted Venezuelans? And Rubio said it would effectively be too difficult, too challenging for the military to successfully do 5, what they call snatch and grab operations. And there were some casualties on the mission. So tell us about that.
Well, there are dozens of Venezuelans that were killed, and according to the Venezuelan government, 32 Cubans were killed, and there are a lot of Cubans that work within the government. But in addition to that, there were a few Americans that were injured. As I said, they had to fight their way in and to fight their way out. President Trump elaborated on that.
All are in good shape right now. But I knew there was great danger. They got off the helicopter and the bullets were flying all over the place. As you know, one of the helicopters got hit pretty badly, but we got everything back. Got everything back and nobody killed.
And U.S. military sources that we spoke to said they're having a sort of status quo ante. The huge amount of U.S. military firepower that was in that region before these raids will continue to be there. And President Trump has already said they are prepared to launch more attacks inside Venezuela. Not necessary, he says, but the military is poised to do so if called upon.
All right, Charlie D'Agata with the latest on the military operation from this weekend. Charlie, thank you.